Welcome. You're with Pastorpedia. We're with a tough subject today, but especially about church leadership and abuses of that leadership. Thank you for joining us. This is a cultural topic, a personal topic, and a very current topic. If you read the Chicago paper, you know that it's often on the front page. I'm Knute Larson, Jeff Bogue, Jim Brown. When is strong leadership abusive? Can we love and lead at the same time? Loaded question. Can we love and lead at the same time? If you say no, you're off the panel.
Yes, the answer to that is yes. I think there's a delicate balance. Using that word strong can often carry I would say a poor or weak connotation. I believe we can be strong and tender leaders. So yeah, I think we can lead strongly and lovingly together.
Jeff, I know you do. How does it run through your head? How do you try to balance? Not balance isn't a good word. You always love, but you must always lead.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite quotes is if servanthood's beneath you, leadership's above you. And so I think you have to go in with a servant heart and you use your strength to do what's best for the church or best for a person. You don't use your strength to do what's best for you. And so I think if we can, and it's hard, it's super hard, but I think if we can put ourselves into the mindset that I'm a servant of Christ, He's called me to be a servant of these people, but I need to do for Christ what's best for these people. And that's not always what they want. But if the strength is given as a resource or is given in humility, people pick up on it. My mentor, Bob Combs, told me one time, he says, just love the people and they'll always know that. And so people know if you actually love them or not. And they know if you're trying to serve them or not. Even if they're prickly about it sometimes, they still can tell where it's coming from.
And Jesus answered the question that the disciples were asking among themselves as to which of them is the greatest. He answered by washing their feet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's a great response. I think when I look over just the whole tier of leadership, whether it's in the church, marketplace, coaches, just name it, schools, it's more their heart and their tone when they came strongly to me. It was more whether or not they showed an expression of humility. I can follow someone that strongly says this is what we should do if I know their heart is right. And obviously that trying to find that is up to the Holy Spirit. So lead in such a way that people can see the heart of a man. I'll say it this way. Sometimes I walk into church leadership settings or other leadership setting, and you can quickly see if someone has an agenda or there's a pride or ego there. If we serve in humility, we can serve strongly.
Jesus did. What are some ways you catch yourself in this area? Or your wife catches you?
That may be a better question. When I start to get hyper defensive, I know that I need to double click on my motives. When I start to feel very insecure, which I do sometimes, I feel like people are against me. I need to double click on where my heart is. When I start to feel a over-degreed sense of ownership, who do you think built this place and what would happen if I left? I know my heart's in a bad spot. And so if I can dial into some of those warning signs, I can pull out, probably rest up a little bit and not cause some of the wounds, because I can take that strength and dominate you with it. It's not hard for me to do, but I don't want to. So I try to look at the clues first. When
I'm worn out, and let me just pull away too. You can see it happen in meetings if you become defensive. How I respond to criticism. Do I go on the defense instead of just receiving from that? Also, a couple other things. When my time with Jesus has waned.
Yeah,
I'm not a good leader.
We all try to do it as a parent. Love and lead, you got to do both. And it's delicate and it's a tough balance. How does a loving leader turn mean?
I think when they get self-centered, and I really think when they have this overt sense of ownership. When I think the church is mine, and I built it, and I designed it, and I came up with the philosophies, and I'm the reason that people come and listen on the weekends, and when that pathway starts in your heart, even though this is where it's hard, there's some truth to that. But that truth, that's because that belongs to the Lord. That doesn't belong to me. So God is using me, God helped me, God gave me insight. It's a very different conversation than I did it. And when that starts up, I'm going to get defensive, I'm going to get controlling, and I'm in trouble. When I decided the church is a platform for me, and I have to be the focal point of it, the people are talking to me about me more than they're talking about Jesus. I'm going to get controlling, I'm going to push it.
I would
it's
agree.
Things like that.
I would also, when there's a lack of accountability, just do a self-check.
Yeah.
If you are not surrounding yourself with people regularly and you continue to isolate, and your decision-making comes with you only, you're in trouble.
Indeed.
And I think that's when strong leadership goes south quickly.
People say things to us as pastors that they don't say to other people. They trust us so much. Or even, oh, that was so wonderful. Even that, we believe our own press reports, we are going to turn very selfish. We want on our tombstones, he pursued love, or he did what was best for the church. More on this. As fallen people, meanness is not far from any one of us.
No. I would jump off of what Jim said. I think it's real important that you have, we use an elder model. I'm one of those elders. I don't, I'm there as an equal, but they do have authority over me. I do submit to that. I think you one time told me that you should always have a room that you are the youngest and the dumbest in, right? Which is hard for you because of your intelligence.
Because of
it's so difficult for you
I'm looking for that room.
Yeah, but I try to actually have a room like that. It's not my elder group. This is a different group of friends, and they're just not afraid of me. They're not afraid to call my idea dumb. I think that kind of stuff is important. I think rest, when I'm tired, I'm grumpy, and my personality, when I'm grumpy, I'm lippy. And when I feel myself doing that, I get mean. I think I'm being funny, but I'm being mean. Things like that. It's time with the Lord, it's rest, it's all that together so that we're serving Christ and not ourselves. That's what breeds a lot of this.
And I think when we stop listening to other people too, and when someone comes to you and wants to communicate something they've observed, they come tenderly, they approach you, and we stop listening. We're thinking about what we're going to say next before we listen to them. And it's be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger is a good mantra that I'm constantly speaking to myself.
This whole thing is about that.
Right.
And we preach it, but we can be abusive just by leading or even claiming Jesus is using us.
That's right.
How can those around an abusive leader help?
I think you start by trying to speak truth. You apply what I would call a Matthew 18 principle even to your leader. And so sitting down with them and saying, this is what I'm seeing. Do you know what's happening? I had this happen to me. My parents died. I was emotionally, physically spent. I had a guy that worked for me, come into my office. He closed the door and he said, Jeff, I don't think you know that you're being demanding and mean and short with everybody. It helped me so much because he didn't attack me. He's like, I have the guts to lovingly say that I think you have a blind spot in this area. Now I listened to him because I knew I wasn't in a good place because of all that was going on in my life. I think simply starting there and looking at somebody and saying, I love you. Is there something going on in your life that would cause you to be off kilter a little
And
bit?
I think the environment that you do that in, I wouldn't do it in the pastor's office. I wouldn't do it in the church building. Say, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. If you exercise, let's go run together. Hey, let's go fishing together. Find a common bridge that you can do life together. And from that, let that conversation surface honestly. I think environment and setting and tone makes a big difference in approaching. You can't approach an abusive, strong person. They're already on the defense. But create an environment that strips them of all those protective devices.
Or appeal on the basis of Scripture and the front page of the Chicago paper.
Yeah.
Well, what could be the good result of this? Nothing.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about a leader like this, you have to look at the leader. Is the leader tired? Are they spent? Are they burned out? Are they controlling? Are they angry? Are they ungodly? And sometimes a tired leader gets treated this way. And sometimes a guy that's this way gets treated this way. And the leadership within the church, the elders, the board, they have to I think the key is don't be passive. Don't just allow that to happen. But raise the tone and raise the intensity until you find out what's actually going on in the man's heart.
And look at his decision-making process. If the decisions he's making didn't require input from other people, he is in a dangerous place, and that leads to strong, abusive leadership.
Absolutely.
And at the beginning, never sign a non-disclosure agreement, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we don't sit in judgment. We're trying to guard our own lives. We want on our tombstone, he ran after love, he pursued Jesus. But if we believe everything people say to us, we're going to be in trouble. You're with Pastorpedia. We're about abusive leadership today, warning against it, and also saying it's in every one of our hearts. So let's have guardianship. Let's have accountability. Let's be careful. Let's be loving. I'm Knute Larson with Brown Jeff Bogue with Pastorpedia. Thank you.